Did you cover the cabinet meeting today? I mean, people keep sending me clips.
And I see these people ripping it off. And now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that's. I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing.
88%. Really?
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct.
He's talking about all Somalis right now, by the way.
I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain, and from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came.
This language is new, right? It's pretty bad for the sitting president to say that all Somalian people are garbage and we don't want them in our country. That's probably not good. I don't know. He was probably listening to Stephen Miller. For like they had a little talk before this. It is pretty extreme even for him. I do say it's. I personally take it as a bit of a positive sign though, because this shit does not move the needle at all in their favor. If you are this racist, you are already voting Republican, buddy. This is not a kind of like soft dog whistle racism that reaches out and casts a wide net. This is a pretty objectionable at the face of things. So, you know, if this is the messaging they're going to fall back on after, and you know Trump's feeling the heat right now, right? Basically every week there is a new catalog of his failures. And I'm sure his administration shelters him from a lot of them. But right now, a message he just can't avoid is the fact that he personally is so unpopular, it's sinking his party. Sorry, I'm woker than you guys. But I guarantee you he's getting this a lot, right?
From paradise, and they said this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Damn, really? The standing ovation for the "there should be no Somalis in America" thing? This is definitely new. Well, it's no, like, we're not surprised by the fact that everyone in the presidential cabinet is a lunatic hyper-racist. You know, that's not really surprising. Again, it doesn't move the needle. It doesn't move the needle. If anything, it just tells me how upset Trump is personally. Because I don't think he's too authentic in his own special way. I don't think he can do this whole ginned-up speech unless he personally is feeling the heat a little bit, you know? Well, at least Trump never complains. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very, very stoic.
Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave? Yes.
That was the sign-off too. You know, he's like, yeah, that's a good thing to end on.
Now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that's. I hear they ripped off.
Oh yeah, that's the thing we just heard. Let's see, Trump asleep while Marco Rubio speaks right next to him.
War started. It never would have happened if you'd been president. But this war is going on, and the president is trying to end it. Not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on in the world as a country, but he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why even as we speak to you now, Steve Woodcock is in Moscow trying to find a way to end this war, to save lives of 9,000 people, Mr. President, as you know, are dying every week. More people were started. And
was that a sign of life right there? What a joke of a country. Yeah, it does kind of suck. At least, I don't know how to put it, man. At least Nixon, how am I blanking on the world's most evil man's name? How am I, Kissinger. At least Nixon and Kissinger were like a little serious, a little self-serious. Not interpersonally to each other. They were like jokes. But, you know, at least they had like a bit going on. At least when they were speaking to the news cameras, they were putting on an artifice. And Kissinger was a smart guy. Incomprehensibly evil, self-serving, and believe nothing, but, you know, not stupid. This is just, it's sad. I mean, it makes you think that America's never coming back, right? Like, the because I don't want to, it's like Libby terminology, not the dignity of America, I guess, but like the widespread belief that America can stand for something, that there is some value in believing that good can be done at all. Not that we are doing good, but that good can be done. I feel like it goes out the window with stuff like this, you know? It's all just too much of a joke. It does kill optimism. It denigrates the institution. And there is a big difference between an institution like the United States being denigrated because, you know, it's evil and racist and war and so on and so forth, versus it being denigrated as part of this, like, gerontocratic institutional rot, you know? It's a different vibe.
And also working with Christian Department of Homeland Security, making sure that everyone that lives inside of public housing is accounted for and that they are American people. And so I say that and I emphasize that to know that we prioritize American people and American people only. Lastly, sir, in Atlantic City, we took over the Atlantic City public housing because the living conditions were deplorable. And they have people that have been living there for 3 generations and they were being treated very bad. And so I took it so that we can now give people a safe place to stay, and working with the First Lady.
That's crazy. That's boring. Dude,
And we want
I think
our
he
workforce
agrees.
to be educated. We do not need the numbers that we have seen across this country where our 4th through 8th graders cannot read, write, or do any math, and there are a few. Which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir.
Oh yeah, they're saying there's some billion-dollar crime in Wisconsin. It's almost certainly fake. Has there been a single thing the Trump administration has drawn attention to over the past year that was not made up? I'm actually asking, has there been a single time that a Democratic official has done something bad, like actually bad, that they've drawn attention to? Because as far as I can remember, every single time it's been made up. I can't think of a single time it wasn't. Why are they even f***ing with Walz? What did Walz say recently? Dude, Trump just got a standing ovation for a 2-minute rant where he called all Somalis dirty people and we don't want him here, specifically because of Ilhan Omar. This is the supposed crime in Minnesota. Duffy finds 1/3 of Minnesota's non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses were issued illegally and warns Tim Walz for... All right, that's all fake. I don't really care. It's boring and fake. Oh, is it this? Part of the DOT crackdown on the trucking industry? Wait, 44% of trucking schools don't comply with government rules. Is this just like an illegal immigrant thing again? I wish Democrats would threaten red states like that. We had to have a talk about this yesterday, about how God compels us to blight every Republican voter's lives until they promise to stop doing it, until they vote right. It's literally their fault. If they would just vote correctly, we wouldn't keep having this issue. I did see this one from earlier today.
Mr. President, do you think he should resign over the fraud scandal in his state?
And who should?
Tim Walz, over the fraud scandal in his state.
Look, I think the man's a grossly incompetent man. I thought that from the day I watched J.D. destroy him in the debate. I was saying, who was more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent, and I had a man and a woman. I thought she was very incompetent too, but now she's leading the field, and I think she's leading the field in this for the
He hates Vance, man. Jesus Christ.
nomination. Anyway, look,
Why would you say that?
saying who was more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent, and I had a man and a woman. I thought she was very incompetent too, but now she's leading.
I think he was calling Biden incompetent. You think so?
I was saying who was more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent, and
I don't know. Maybe. It's genuinely, I don't know. Who knows? The debate he had with Biden versus JD Vance. No. I understand what it could mean. You know, I'm just saying you have no, it's not possible to actually know. I'll give it a coin flip. This is what they were talking about. Unfortunately, the leaders of the housing fraud were majority Somalian. They're just from September. Isn't everyone in Minnesota Somali? Isn't it little Somalia for some reason? Damn, you got Assad Ahmed Adaw and Anwar Ahmed Adaw. I think this is a different thing. The rest of the state is white as indigenous. Does Minnesota have a big indigenous population? Yeah, that's cool.
word. It doesn't mean it. And You know, there's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about, affordability. They just say the word. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. They just say it. Affordability. I inherited the worst inflation in history.
This is a very, very good message. I think you should keep running with this one. This is very... No, please. Cut the cameras.
There was no affordability. Nobody could afford anything. The prices were massively high. Do you remember when we took over eggs? You did a great job on that, Madam Secretary. Agriculture, Brooke. Eggs were 4 or 5 times higher than they had ever been. They said, don't order eggs for Easter at the White House. And we ended up doing it, and we got the egg prices way down, lower than what they were before. But the word affordability is a con job by the Democrats. They say affordable. I watched the other day where some very low IQ congresswoman talked about affordability. She had no idea. Their prices were much higher.
This is an amazing message. Yeah, especially after, like, he met with Mamdani won, and he met with Mamdani, and there was like a 2-week period where Trump was like, we're the affordability party, you know? Economic simulator, you don't need to do the editorialization for me. I can do it, don't worry. He really does have the memory of a goldfish, doesn't he? He loved the affordability issue. Yeah, the funny thing is, like, he's talking about affordability even as he denies the concept. He's like, no one gives a shit about affordability. You know what people do give a shit about? How I made groceries cost less. Okay. Maybe Mamdani should be his vice lol. Mamdani being his VP would effectively be a Mamdani presidency. Maybe that's the workaround. And in other news, while we're just doing like a cabinet roundup here, I guess, they're all beefing with the Pope. The Pope called upon Catholic leadership to issue a forceful statement condemning the behavior of ICE and the DHS. By a nearly unanimous vote, they wrote they were saddened by the state of contemporary debate and the vilification of immigrants. The bishops issued a video denouncing the behavior. ICE. Response from Trump loyalists is to declare war on the Catholic Church. Border Czar Tom Homan condemned the bishop's letter in the church as wrong. I'm saying it not only as border czar, I'll say it as a Catholic. I think they need to spend time fixing the Catholic Church, in my opinion. Oh, this is good. Hey, Tim Burchett, we just saw that guy. Tim Burchett accused the Catholic Church of using government grants to profit from services rendered to refugees. Yeah, why not, man? Fight everyone. Fight literally everyone. Like, be so incapable of ever. It's insane to me that the only time I have ever seen them back down on something, it was because they got quote tweeted by Theo Vaughn. That is the only time I have ever seen the White House retract. That's it. Everything else is on the table. Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, Sabrina Carpenter, the Pope, whatever, man. Pick a fight with everyone. Podcaster occupied government. Matt Gaetz was at the Pentagon press briefing today. Yeah, I saw that. He was even wearing his rep vest or jacket. Guess he got bored. Remember when this guy was going to be the Attorney General? He might have done a better job than Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi has been a huge failure, even to the administration. Like, people do not like her.